Now is change advocate and politician Daniel Akinlami. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. Now, this decision by the governors of the southern state has generated divergent reaction across the country. So much so, the recent one even generating so much conversation, especially the fact that it was coming from the Attorney General of the Federation, where he, said it is unconstitutional and also likened it to it's similar to asking those selling spare parts to, kind of banning spare parts selling in the north. And the political correctness and the constitutionalness, if I may use the word, has come to play with regards to that statement. Yes, the Constitution says that there is free movement of persons, and that is where the question is for a lot of persons. What the Constitution states clearly is the free movement of persons and not animals. So when you look at his statement, what did you deduce from what he said, basically?
Well, basically, to start with, it looks like the 17 Southern governors' decision is like the most important reaction to this socio-political quagmire created by the farmers-herders conflict.
Right.
And we also need to be objective.
All right.
Weighing in on this issue. People need to put their sentiments and partisanship aside. If we're looking at the constitutional side of this issue, the governors, as the leaders of their state, have constitutional
Chief security
power,
officers.
yes, to enact law on how the internal affairs of the state is driven.
Right.
And also don't forget that some of the states in this forum have already enacted laws. Like the leader of the forum, Governor Kredolu State. Yes. They've enacted this law. So, but where we are, there are positive sides to this and there are also negative sides to this. But I believe we need to tread with caution, and also we need to bring everybody to the table.
Now,
this is a wonderful decision by the Southern governors, but we should be careful that we do not politicize.
When you talk about being circumspect, putting aside politics and ensuring that we tread cautiously, how do you mean? How are we supposed to tread cautiously in this matter?
The tension is high already in this country. People are prone to retaliation. People are prone to tribal affiliation. And also don't forget, the people at the center of this crisis is a tribal culture, like a business that has been on for centuries. So it will take a systemic approach to migrate from this system to a modern day practice. So it's not going to be a forceful thing. People should engage each other. I
don't believe that the southern governors were being forceful. They were making a statement and they said they'll go through the right channels of engaging the National Assembly. So
definitely,
where
of course.
force is coming from,
they are not being forceful.
Yeah.
But in today's Nigeria, with the tension that is high everywhere,
right,
I believe compromise will be the best way.
On whose part?
Compromise on everybody's part. The governors have done very well with this decision, coming together. And this is the biggest declaration from the South on this issue. But I tell you, if this is not navigated properly, diplomatically and politically, this will lead to another crisis. I believe the Southern governors will also proceed to engage the Northern governors. There are some individuals in the North that have demonstrated support for ban of open grazing.
Abdullahi Ganduje.
Exactly. So they should reach out. We shouldn't engage in this going in the war of words, attacking people's businesses, tribe. No. The tension is high, so we should proceed with this diplomatically. They should engage the governors. We can come to a compromise that if all the governors can come on the table, we look at the practicable parts of this proposition, where to start from, especially the legal aspect, the constitutional aspect. Even though the Attorney General has his own reservation, he could as well go to court, and that's even what they challenge him for.
Yes.
He could as well go to court to challenge the decision. And that is the right thing to do. But beyond that, I believe the southern governors should reach out to the northern governors. Bring people to the table, and let's push this together. If we push it together, it will make a good and speedy in-way to get the support in the north. And perhaps have the federal government, part of their resolution was also demanding from federal government to support states that are ready to embark on modern ranching. And it's the way to go now. So that this does not look like attacking the culture of some people, attacking the source of business of some people. We've got to bring our people to the level of understanding to know the benefits in embracing the modern way of grazing.
But when you look at the body language of those from the north, do you think that they are ready to have this conversation? Because talking about having a roundtable conversation, we have the Governors Forum, where conversations like this can be had. But then we are not seeing that.
You know, the conversations cannot be exhausted overnight. We must continue to engage. We must continue to look at the different angles of this. After all, the governor of Kano State several times have made announcement, declaration that elders should come to Kano State, they will give them land.
Right.
So we need to, you know, put more of such good will in the north. We need to put it at the front. We need to also engage more people who are open to the modern ranching.
I remember that even when Ondo State made a declaration talking about a ban of open grazing, there was a conversation with some northern governors, I think, within that period.
Yes.
So what has that resulted into, if we are even looking at having
the issue
a
then was basically the enactment of the law in Ondo State.
Yeah.
And the furor and the crisis that followed.
Now, that's why I'm saying that we have an example of a conversation that took place. What has that resulted into?
Well, this is a process. There are people today who a year or 2 years ago perhaps would have made up their mind not to shift position. But today they have a different position on this issue. Right. So more people will still come on board when it comes to the rationale behind doing things in the proper way. In this day and age, open grazing is outdated. But as a nation that is so polarized like Nigeria, it's not going to happen by forceful constitutional demand. We need to bring people. In fact, if you're going to go to National Assembly now to enact a law, even if you are the president, to enact a law to ban open grazing is going to be a very difficult thing to do. If you don't have a compromise, if you have not brought everybody to the round table before forwarding that bill to the National Assembly, if you have not put everybody interest in that bill, it will get there and they will shoot it down. So we need to have that understanding. That's why it's a democracy. I do not want to go to the way of those who are already tensed. I know there are different sides to this. The Attorney General's position are followed by several people. And the southern governors to position, a lot of people have been waiting for that. Yes. A lot of people are incited. So but beyond all of this incitement and partisanship, we should be objective. If Nigeria is not like what it is today, this should not be a big deal. There are people who believe that this is their culture. That every attempt you are making against this, you are attacking their culture, attacking their tribe, attacking their business. So you're not going to come out all the way as if you are after the business of a particular tribe. As much as what you are proposing makes sense, it will bring peace. Look at the southern part of Nigeria. If we implement this ban on open grazing, at least to 50% we reduce the insecurity we are facing now. And also reduce the conflict between the farmers and the herders. And also it will give this business a boost. Herders can buy land, fence it, protect their cattle, maximize as much benefit from rearing cattle beyond just selling the cows. So it's for the good of everyone. But before you get the people, get them convinced that this is for your good. And for us to have a lasting solution, we should still engage those who are in the north.
If you've been hammering on the issue of compromise, and I am trying to understand when you say compromise on the part of the southern governors now, let's begin with that. What do you expect them, what should give if we are talking about compromise?
You know, this issue is very complex.
Yes.
If we're talking about compromise in general term now, I won't want to pin it on any area. But compromise in general time, when people come together, you see, you will give and I will give.
I would have loved for you to, pin it
but
to something.
But if we're looking at what is on ground that we're talking about, people have expressed their resolve not to give their land in the south, either for Ruga or for any of those other programs. People are not even ready to give their land for that. Now, part of the crisis we're even facing now is the fact that there is this desert encroachment in the north, the climate change, that is forcing the herders to be coming down to the south. So the migration is heavily tolling on the land that is available in the south. So we have to look at all of this. Now, if we are going the way of ban on open grazing, let federal governments also bring in support for the herders. Bring in support for the states that want to implement this. Give funding. Support the process for allocating land where the herders can have access to land at a cheaper rate, not exorbitant rates, cheaper rates where they can settle down. Because as it is today, only few big men in that business can go into a state and pay every sum of money to buy land. And this is a business that has thrived over the years in movement from one place to another at the expense of everyone. So it's not going to just change suddenly. It has to be gradual. And we must embrace that gradual approach so that this will also not lead to another conflict.
All right, but there's something that the governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Ganduje, mentioned that I would really want for you to quickly touch on, which has to do with, he said that if we really want to genuinely, address this issue, that we'll have to look at the ECOWAS, that it's more of an ECOWAS problem, where from the ECOWAS countries, there has to be an amendment to Article 3 of the ECOWAS protocol that allows for movement of cattle, livestock within and around African countries. And perhaps, what do you make of that? Perhaps we should be looking at that, perhaps engaging ECOWAS to address this issue to ensure that we do not have an inflow that is already affecting the country.
This is necessary because the bulk of this problem is created by foreigners who stroll into Nigeria or migrate from one country to another and in the pursuit of their business interest. So we need to do something about this. Nigeria, as a big leader in the ECOWAS bloc, even need to do more. But when we go around this issue, there is a lot that's on the head of the federal government. There is a lot that the federal government need to do to also help resolving this farmers' herders conflict.
Shouldn't it begin from here?
We are suffering.
Shouldn't it begin with this ECOWAS, the amendment to this treaty?
Yes, Nigeria has a big role to play in getting this amendment done within the ECOWAS bloc. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So it has to do with the willpower of the government. The willpower of the government. Government need to see to this because beyond what is going on within the country, there is serious migration that is affecting our security in Nigeria. People moving from Mali, Niger, Chad, and then, all around surrounding Nigeria. So, and then the fact that there is also this movement, free movement within the West African bloc,
right,
is also taking toll on our security. So I believe going forward, beyond what the southern governors have done, federal government need to take more measure. They need to get involved in resolving this crisis, support states that are willing and ready to implement some of these procedures, and also let's engage the West African bloc.
Showing that leadership and addressing this issue. Change advocate and politician Daniel Akinlami, thank you for your time on the program.